All right, let's talk about a financial rule that is everywhere. You've definitely heard of it, the 50-30-20 rule. It's sold to us as the simple, almost magical secret to getting your money right. But what happens when that simple secret just stops making any sense?
And that's really the big question we're digging into here. Is this super popular budgeting rule actually helping you? Or is it, maybe, setting you up to fail? Especially if you happen to live in a big, expensive city.
Okay, so let's get into it. To understand why this rule can fall apart, we've got to first understand the promise behind it. And let me tell you, the 50-30-20 rule is built on this really clean, super appealing idea of perfect balance. So here's the breakdown. It's pretty straightforward. You take your paycheck, after taxes of course, and you split it into 3 buckets. 50% is for your needs, the absolute essentials, rent, utilities, food, getting to work. Then 30% is for your wants. This is the fun stuff, eating out, your hobbies, Netflix, those shoes you've been eyeing, and that last 20%, that goes straight into savings or paying down debt. Sounds simple, right?
And when you look at it like this, you can totally see the appeal. It's just so clean. A perfect circle, all neatly divided up. This visual simplicity is a huge reason why it's so popular. It makes you feel like your finances aren't some impossible puzzle, but more like a simple recipe you can follow. But this is where the perfect promise smacks right into a messy reality. For millions and millions of people, that perfect recipe, well, it just doesn't work for their life. The whole thing starts to fall apart, usually because of one major factor. Right? You land that amazing job, you pack up, you move to this incredible city, and then bam! You get hit with a serious case of sticker shock. Just the basic cost of living in a major city can completely shatter that neat little circle we were just looking at. And this chart just lays the problem bare. That bar on the left, that's the perfect 50% you're supposed to have for all your needs. But the bar on the right, well, that's just rent. In a lot of high cost of living cities, rent by itself can devour 40, 50, even 60% of what you take home. Your entire needs budget is basically gone before you've even bought a loaf of bread. And this is so important to hear. This is not a personal failure. It doesn't mean you're bad with money. The rule, the one-size-fits-all rule, is what failed you. It just wasn't built for a world where one single bill can completely blow up the entire formula.
So, what do? Just give up? No way. We don't throw the idea out, we make it better. We adapt. Let's get into the solution and see how we can build a budget that actually works for real life in a city.
Okay, check this out. This is the urban adaptation. If you look at them side by side, you see that instead of trying to cram your life into that 50-30-20 box, this model flips the whole thing around. It just accepts the reality that your needs are going to take up a much bigger piece of the pie. We're talking 60 or even 70%. And that means the other parts have to get flexible. Your wants and your savings might be smaller, somewhere in that 10 to 20% range. It's all about being realistic, not idealistic. So why does this new approach actually work? Well, first off, it starts from a place of honesty. It accepts that your rent is high, and you can't do much about it. Second, it correctly points out that your wants are where you have the most control and flexibility. And maybe most important of all, it lets you set savings goals you can actually hit. Trust me, hitting a small, realistic goal feels way better and does more for you than constantly failing at a big, unrealistic one. It helps get rid of all that financial guilt.
And that really brings us to the main takeaway here. These rules, like 50-30-20, they're great starting points, but you have to think of them as a flexible framework, not a rigid prison you have to force yourself into. The real goal is to build your own personal financial blueprint, one that actually fits your life. And here's how you can do it in 3 super simple steps. First, forget the percentages for a minute. Just add up your essential, non-negotiable costs. See what percentage of your income that actually is. That number is your new anchor. Step 2, look at what's left and decide on a savings goal that you can honestly, realistically commit to. And third, whatever is left over after all that, that's for your wants, and you get to spend it totally guilt-free because you already handled all the important stuff. At the end of the day, that's what this is all about.
A budget is supposed to be a tool that makes your life less stressful, not more. The best budget isn't the one that looks perfect in a textbook. It's the one you can actually stick with week after week because it reflects your reality, your city, and your goals.
So the real question isn't whether the 50-30-20 rule is wrong. It's just, is it right for you? It's time to stop trying to squeeze yourself into a pre-made box and start building your own blueprint instead. So I'll leave you with this to think about. What does yours look like?